Westin St. Francis, also area leader for all of our 9 downtown Marriott hotels.
Hello, I'm Terry Lewis. I'm the complex general manager of this hotel, Union Square, at Park 5 Hotel across the street.
Good morning, Lynn Morfeld, President and CEO of the California Hotel and Lodging Association.
Great. Okay, we'll kick it off. We'll start with you, Terry, the host of this beautiful hotel today. Thank you so much for hosting us. As a local hotelier, can you give us a sense of how things are going day in and day out recently in the hotel industry?
So, Kelly, this is a really good day today because I had the opportunity to speak to a room full of team members who are coming back for the first time in 2 years across the street at the Park 55 because we're reopening the hotel on the 19th of May. So I'm very, very happy to announce that. So we were thrilled. But on a day-to-day, it's feeling better. It's feeling good here in the city. There's more people that are out. I think that our guests are cautious. They are happy to be out and to be experiencing our majestic city. And I think meeting customers the same way. It's very hard to predict our pathway to recovery, but it's certainly getting better every month. Events are happening again. Today we actually have an event. It's an outward bound event. I don't know if anybody looked up when they came into the hotel, but we have about 60 people rappelling down the side of Tower 1. That was great because that experience has been postponed for 2 years. They're going to raise a lot of money today, and I think there's many groups that are very excited about being here and planning travel, and we just need to continue to have that happen. One thing I did, so many people touched on this, but each hotel in San Francisco has a little ecosystem surrounding it. They have restaurants, they have galleries, they have stores, and they feed all of these other places. So for example, when the Park 55 is closed, the Thai restaurant across the street doesn't do as well. So I think the more people that we get here and the more our hotel and our business gets back, I think the entire city is going to recover.
Great. Chip, what is our outlook on meeting and events? If you can give us an update there. Are hotels seeing an uptick overall from AHLA's perspective, and are you seeing a return of corporate events and conferences?
Yeah, they're coming back. I think I get asked to make a lot of predictions, and half the time I'm wrong. And this is one I got wrong. I thought it would be leisure, normal business travel, transient business travel, and then events. And it's actually been leisure and then events. And they are coming back, but it's important to remember that San Francisco is a perfect example of this. Many of these events take years and years to plan. And so when you cancel one, it's not like you can just pick it up immediately. Now, one of the interesting things I think that will be a very positive effect on in-person events, we're starting to see signs of this already. It's almost counterintuitive, but when you think about it, it does make sense. That so many of these events that were traditional in-person events went virtual, and what they were able to do is gain a much wider audience of people who had never been able to experience the event. And now that they've experienced it, they want to experience it in person. And so I think over the next few years, there will be certain events, and hopefully a preponderance of them, that actually gain a larger audience because people have been exposed to it who otherwise would not have had they not had a virtual option. But the reality is this: these in-person events are absolutely critical, not just to our industry, but the American economy. We've commissioned a study through San Diego State University that clearly shows face-to-face interaction, whether it's an event or a business meeting, will help your business do better. And so I know that the accountants and the lawyers, it's a terribly dangerous duo right there during the pandemic, told everyone not to travel, and then the accountant said, look, all the money we're going to save by not traveling. That may help you in the short term, but in the long term, human nature is human nature, and even a CPA can't change that. People want to be with other people, and if you're there in their office, you're going to get the sale. If you're not in their office and you're on Zoom, you're less likely to get the sale. So it's going to come back.
Yeah, that makes sense. Lynn, next question for you. From a state perspective, what is the current state of California hotels and how are they recovering?
Well, I think just to echo everyone else's comments, leisure has come back, and through the entire pandemic, obviously the consumer and the guest and traveler was looking for the outdoor space and the beaches, the mountains, and anywhere that they could be not inside with a lot of people for health concerns. So those are all doing very well. I think that most of those type of leisure destinations by the end of this year will be at least back to 2019 levels, and that'll be good. The lagging is in the urban areas, and I kind of take that as twofold. One, it's where all the people are, and so we've kind of gotten used to over the last couple of years not being around a lot of people, so I don't think it's first in mind. That said, we also have inconsistencies in our health protocols, which Chip alluded to earlier, which really makes it difficult. You know, one week we're open, the next week we're not, and there was a lot of back and forth, especially in California, and with the two largest metro areas, San Francisco and Los Angeles, that was especially acute. So everybody had their own little rules, and it was hard to keep track. And as Chip mentioned, there's a lot of planning on this. So these are 3, 4, 5, sometimes a long time. And the longer distance that people are away, the longer planning period that they have. So it's taken a while. We've got a safety and security issue in the metro areas as well in California. And so we need to do better on that. But we'll get there and we're coming back. I just think the urban areas are going to be coming back the slowest, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not good for us, but slow and steady. Mr. Kimball, are you seeing a similar experience as Terry mentioned? And from a marketing perspective, how are you trying to attract travelers back to San Francisco?
Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, no, I think Terry summed it up well. We are really excited about this new momentum we're witnessing. It really is like a switch flipped, I'd say, in early March, and people decided to genuinely start traveling to the urban destinations. And we're seeing, the future really relatively bright. Our associates are basically back at work, and the hotels that have been closed in the market are all reopened, and it's wonderful to kind of see this energy level that's beginning to really build here in the city. Every time I walk around, I witness it firsthand, and yeah, Terry, I looked up, I didn't see you coming down the side of the building, but I know you did that one other time, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, you couldn't pick both of them when I did that.
Chip is gonna do it. Did he tell you that in the slot? He said he would.
You're gonna lead us all there after this? Is that the deal? But speaking of heights, like I think from a marketing perspective, we are ready and excited to market San Francisco, tell the world we are fully open and really prepared to welcome them to our city. And sadly, during the pandemic, not surprisingly, we suspended all marketing, basically public relations and online marketing. Well, candidly, now it's full steam ahead. And at all levels of all of our hotels, everyone is really excited to get the word out. I think we are looking for more experiences, more experiential activities to bring people to San Francisco. People, this pent-up demand that we all talk about, people have been sitting at home, ready to go do something new, and we are creating experiences to bring them here to San Francisco, whether it's sporting activities, as you heard earlier, the typical stuff, but even, I think Pride this year will be on steroids. I think Mother's Day will be on steroids. I think there will be more holiday reasons to come to downtown San Francisco than ever before, because people are creating these special experiences, and honestly, people are excited to come back and really enjoy our city.
That's the happy news we have been waiting for quite a long time. I love it. Terry, at the ground level, can you tell us what you are seeing in terms of leisure and business travel at your specific hotels or hotels now that the market divide is open?
Sure. So bookings are increasing. They're definitely stronger than they were last month, the month before. It just continually gets better. Leisure, we're seeing some international. I was at the pool the other day, and it was really cold, and I had my sweater on, and there was a family from Europe in there in the pool splashing around, and I thought, okay, this is what we like to see here. We like to see the people, in that pool splashing around. So it was very, very nice to, it's nice to see that. I think that we're going to continue. One of the factors that we saw a lot of, last summer and throughout the year were the Californians, the people from LA, the people from Orange County, people that wanted to just drive 2 and 3 hours and didn't want to go too far. That California road trip experience. So I think we're going to continue to see that. But we feel very strongly that we're going to have a pretty gangbuster summer as far as leisure travel goes. Business travel, it's beginning, and you can tell it's beginning when I hang out in the lobby and talk to people, and in San Francisco, sometimes you can't tell a leisure guest from a business traveler because people are a little bit dressed down here compared to other cities, but they're coming, and they're coming from afar, again, it's critical that I think people return to offices here in San Francisco, and I think that's going to have a little bit of an effect on more positive business travel as well, Kelly.
Great. Chip, you were sharing with us earlier with the previous panel about your perspectives on leisure and business travel, and I wondered, not to duplicate the question, but if you could just expand a little bit more on what business travelers are wanting, and what could our hotels do to accommodate the change that you mentioned on the front end and the back end. They're extending their vacation time, and also I've been reading about families. So can you talk about the changing nature of business travel and what we could do to accommodate that?
Yeah, first of all, you need good. It sounds funny, but when we polled that question prior to the pandemic, what's important about your stay, it was on the list, but it wasn't at the top. It's at the top because people realize if I'm going to do business from my hotel room, then I need that. You need a desk. I was just at a huge hospitality design conference just last week in Las Vegas, and everyone was talking about, 2 years ago, we're getting rid of all the desks. I'm gonna bring it back. And I reminded them, if you could point it in a way that you could be on Zoom and not have the bed right behind you.
Good tip.
No one wants to, when you do the fake background, it makes your head look weird.
Yeah.
No one wants that. So these are just the little things that business travelers want. But to your point about families, now business travelers, because they can work from their hotel room and they have the ability to extend a business trip on either end, oftentimes they're not bringing the family. So that business trip that you might take by yourself is no longer a business trip by yourself. It may just be your spouse, but it may be children as well. And so from a hotel perspective, you have to plan for that. If you think that, okay, I'm a hotel that caters only to the transient business traveler, and it's gonna be one person in the room and they're not gonna make a mess, they're just gonna sleep in the bed, take a shower, and leave, that's not going to happen that way anymore. Maybe for one night, but when the family arrives with them, it's gonna be a much different experience. But that's good. We want them all. We want them here. We want them to spend money, preferably in the hotel, but if it's outside the hotel, that's okay as well.
It's opportunity for revenue generation too.
Yes.
Lynn, what is your outlook for the hotel industry in California for the remainder of the year, this year, 2022, and any thoughts about 2023?
It's bright. So as we've said, I think leisure is going to stay hot, and the hotels have been able to continue to get the rate that they need. That said, they've been closed for 2 years. So Park 55 is closed 2 years. It takes a little bit of time to make that up, and so I think that the ownership groups are going to take a while to make that up. But overall, business is going to be good. And group, I think what we're going to start seeing is the momentum that comes back. The offices are going to come back. The larger conferences are going to come back. Their attendance is going to be up to where they were in previous years, and we're going to start seeing that. But I think the momentum is going to come back first. I think we're going to see bookings for advanced years. We're going to see bookings, multiple year bookings, and people are going to start coming back. And the international travel is kind of the last thing. So international, in terms of leisure, spends the most, stays the longest, right? And that also takes a long time to plan. So I'm thinking 23, 24 for that. And we still have mask mandates, and if they go up and down some more, that'll give us a hiccup and slow it down a little bit on that side. So I'm very, very bullish on travel for the next couple of years. And I think group has only got one way to go up, especially in urban areas. So as long as we can kind of keep on that path, we'll do well.
That's great. We're hearing a lot of optimism in this panel. John, are you seeing an uptick in meetings and events? Obviously, a number of weddings and business events were put on hold, pent-up demand there. Have you seen the demand starting to rise again for these types of customers?
Thank you, Kelly. Yes, I am very bullish. Yes, yes, and yes to all those questions. But I am very bullish, and Lynn just talked about kind of this momentum, and honestly, March and April, I think, clearly has exceeded all of our expectations. You can just feel the increased interest and demand coming to our city. So that's been exciting. From a meetings perspective, and Chip brought it up, I think we all kind of wondered when these meetings would return, right? Would it be at the end of this recovery period? But you can tell companies, organizations are prepared to bring their people back. They have been online, it's been efficient, it just doesn't replace the hands-on, face-to-face type of communication. Whether you're fundraising, whether you're meeting about your goals and your organization, bringing people back into a room is critical. So I was looking at our lead volume. Our lead volume was 3 times what it was in 2019. And that just gives you an idea of the amount of interest in planning events and meetings, short-term mainly for San Francisco, in really through I'd say the end of this year. And then lastly, from these citywide perspectives, I think we all kind of wondered how those would come back. And we've been really pleased with some of these larger citywides that have already returned to San Francisco over the last few months, exceeding expectations on attendance. So, and I know their planners are really thrilled that so many of their attendees have decided to come back to be in person.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you, Mr. Rogers, for setting this up for us all today to hear some good news and optimism. We long needed it, and it's fantastic. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.